Hi, John Hess here, filmmakeriq.com. I'm going to demonstrate how you can make your own inline dimmer switch. This is something that I find incredibly useful on my sets. The ability to dim lights is a great way to dial in your set. Now, however, I want to make a disclaimer. You have to make a disclaimer. This is potentially dangerous. Okay, we are working with real electricity. This stuff can kill you, can start a fire. Be very, very careful. Now, I'm going to do the best I can. I am not a master electrician, but this is not a project where you need to be a master electrician. It's not that hard to do. But I just want to reiterate, please be careful if you're trying to do this at home. Okay, let's take a look at what we have here. In order to make an inline, we're going to need to use an extension cord gauge. This is a Stinger 16 gauge. This is 13 amps. We're going to need a dimmer. This is a single pole dimmer. This, you don't want to get the three-way. This single pole is good enough. It's right here. We're going to need a little installation box. This is called an old work. What is this thing called? This is called an old work handy box, I guess. Something like this. And you want to make sure when you purchase your handy box that it will fit the dimmer. Some of them are really shallow, won't fit. So make sure you get one that's deep enough. This is just barely deep enough to fit. And you'll need a wall socket cover. These are relatively inexpensive, like $10 for the electrical, for the wire, for the extension cord, about $6 or $7 for the dimmer. The box itself would be $1, and this is about 50 cents or so. Oh, and you'll want to get a couple extra these guys. These are the twist connections. It does come with 3 of them, but you're actually going to need 4, so have one extra to spare. Okay, you need to decide where you want your dimmer box to be. Now, I prefer to have the dimmer box on the female end, and that's because when I plug the light into the female end, I like to be able to control the box like right here. If I put it over here, then I have to go all the way back to the source of the line. So I like to keep it about toward the female side of the extension cable. So give yourself a little bit of length here. Let's go that much right there. I'm just going to take some wire cutters, give myself a nice bit of room. I don't want to cut them too short, because otherwise we're in trouble. So let's go about right there. And I'm just going to cut. Okay, now you're going to see in here 3 cables. Let's go ahead and strip off some of the shielding around the cable. Taking some scissors and just kind of snipping away. Okay, so you can see our extension cord. Inside our extension cord are 3 cables. There is a white and black. These are the hot. These represent the 2 lines here. Now I've come to know that they're, even though one is considered the hot wire, one is the cold wire, they both do pass electricity. So you don't want to think, well, no, this will just, it's not. This is not a direct current kind of a thing. This is actually an alternating current, so they both will have electricity flowing through them. The green one is our ground, which represents the circle part, the bottom part, the ground wire. So I want to keep those in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and strip the other end while I'm here. Go ahead and take my handy box here. I'm going to run the line so that it'll go through the box like this. Now this side is easy because there's a couple little tabs here. We can just slide them in. Now it all depends too on the kind of handy box you get here. You could run them both like this, but I prefer to have it just be straight in line like that. You can run it through sideways. It's all up to you. This one will require me to break through that hole there. Just break off that piece there, and then we run this cable through. Now at this point, what I like to do is tie a knot. I like to tie a knot in the line, and you can see this is why we want to have quite a bit of extra space here. Tie a knot in the line so that this cable won't keep coming out. And do the same thing on the other side. And if you're worried about how loose this is, don't worry about that, because once we get this dimmer box in there, it's going to be really, really tight. Let's go ahead and open up our dimmer box. So, I don't know why they have to do this. Ah! I just hate this. They just make it easy. Of course, the answer is no, they can't make it easy. They have to make it hard. Okay, with the dimmer box, you get 3 of these little caps and some screws. We'll save those for later. And you get an extra tab too. Alright, toss that. Instruction manual. I've already read it. Make sure you read it. Don't get yourself hurt. So we've got 3 cables on the dimmer switch. And the way we want to do this is we want to connect the black to the black on one side, the second black to the black on the other side. Then we're going to connect all the green wires together, and then we're going to connect the 2 white cables together. And here's a visual diagram of how the wiring is going to be hooked up on this dimmer. Of course, this is just a basic schematic. Make sure you do read your instructions, because every dimmer might be a little bit different. So let's go ahead and start stripping some of our cables. I know you heard me say start stripping. You're like, yes, it's time for John to start stripping. No, we're stripping cables. Okay, so we've got all the cables stripped. Now, let's go ahead and connect one of the blacks, doesn't matter which side you go, to one black. So I like to pre-twist them a little bit. But you don't have to. Get that in there. Twist the thing so it seems nice and tight. Now, same thing with the other black cable. Go ahead and pre-twist it a little bit. Take the cap and cap it. Give it a few twists. Make sure it's pretty solid in there. Okay, the 2 white ones go together. Oh, see, it wasn't very solid, was it? Let's try that again. I'm gonna give myself a little more bare wire here. These final 3. Okay, now it's a matter of putting them back into the box and try to put them as much space as we possibly can. As you can see, you might want to get a bigger box sometimes, but I think I can make this fit. Now we take the screws that came with the dimmer. You can manage this and go ahead and start just plop them in. Moment of truth, we're going to take this. This is the part of the clamp light. This is not plugged in. And I'm just going to plug it in with our dimmer. Now let's see if it turns on. Okay. So I plugged it in. And just turning it. Now we see it's actually dimming up and down. You have to make sure you are in the right switch. If you want to turn it off, you push the button. It turns it off and on. Otherwise, we got a dimmer. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and unplug this guy. Taking this off, and we know it's working. We're going to install the faceplate. This is really for cosmetic, but I just don't feel comfortable touching the metal part of that. That just goes right on top like that. Take a flathead screwdriver. Got the knob back on, plugging it in. Let's see, the light bulb is turning on. Okay, this is the last step of the process. I like to kind of mark off where 100% is. So that's, let's say that's 100%. So I'll just write 100%, and where 0 is. I cut the difference. So right there, I'll just put a little hash mark. Cut the difference again, that's 75. Cut the difference. And that is, right there, that is a DIY inline dimmer switch. Simple as that. Stay safe, guys.